Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation. Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 18th day of July. Here, got a great show with you. Got Mad New Yorker, Carlos Mad New Yorker Chavez back behind stage. We are live here and going to talk to about Russell Westbrook is going to sign with he's going to sign with Denver with Joker and help them off the bench there in a trade with some minor players. But basically, he's going to be a Denver Nugget. Big deal there. Going to ask him about Jalen Brunson, also taking a massive pay cut with an extension there on his for the New York Knicks. Plus, there's a rumor that came out today of them possibly acquiring another big man. I'll bring that up as well. Stand by. We're going to take our first and only break here. Got a few other things to talk about. We'll ask him about that Jaylen Brown situation. Plus, SEC Media Days were this week. Get his thoughts on a few things there with Kirby Smart and Georgia and the SEC championship coming up. So let's take our first and only break, and we'll be back here shortly. We'll hit the ground running here on Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the Sharp-Dressed Man and the Big Story Breaker, Robert Butler, on Sports Scope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on National Streaming Sports.
All righty, then. I'm back here live. Had to change ties. I had this really cool aqua colored tie on for nothing. Okay, Carlos, I had to ask you about this news that came out this afternoon. The Joker and the Nuggets, they have been bucking for, I've been reading this over the summer, to get a Russell Westbrook to come off the bench. They lost Kentavious Caldwell-Pope in the offseason here through free agency. Looks like he's going to be there as a backup point guard. I think it's a great signing for this particular role. They probably still need one more player. They still need a little bit more depth. That's something they could do around the trade deadline. Other than that, I like Westbrook. I just don't want him having the ball in the last 5 minutes. But for this role, I think it's a good play because they could have used the Westbrook being down, blowing that 20-point lead in the third quarter against Minnesota last year. They needed a fire plug like a Westbrook. No?
Yeah, I know. Good evening, everybody. Happy Thursday. So how about? Let me ask you this question: if Russell Westbrook was on that team and they were losing, and you put him in, you think he would have stopped the bleeding? Is that what you're saying?
It would have stopped the run. His energy stopped the run by Minnesota. They were up 20 in Game 7 against Minnesota, blow that lead. Yeah, Westbrook can get you a quick 5 and really catapult you. He's an energy guy, you know?
I think we all want to see him as an energy guy, but he's not that guy anymore. He wasn't that guy last year. He wasn't that guy the year before that. Now he's like looking to just sneak another 25 mil from another team. How about this? He's maybe a number 9 player on any team. He's good for depth. But if you're gonna use him up in the beginning of the game, and don't even put him in the back end of a game, because he's not that spark plug that you think he is anymore. I mean, he's older. his shooting percentage wasn't ever that high anyways.
No.
And like he's not that great on defense. He does some things well. He reads the game pretty well, but if I would pick him up, I wouldn't have picked him up and spent that money that they're spending.
I don't think they spent that much on Westbrook. He's 30. Yeah, he's 35.
Yeah, like so. What kind of score player do you think he is, Robert? He's 35 years old.
He's going to be 36 in November.
Right. So he's just
8, 9 guy. I think that's that's not bad for 8 or 9 guy.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But don't say that he's going to come off the bench and stop a team from bleeding now and change the course of the game, because he's not that guy anymore, and he hasn't been that guy since like 2018, maybe even.
You're thinking that he's not going to be a starter.
No, I'm not. But he thinks he's a starter. He plays like he's a starter, and that's his problem. Like
he played 68 games. This guy, I like to see him get a ring. I like his work ethic. I don't like his play.
You're thinking of the Russ from like Oklahoma City when he was like, like he's not that player anymore. And I just feel like everybody's always talking, like he gets his numbers, he gets some stats. He's been, packing them in to keep that contract money going and staying stable. But as far as that, he hasn't helped any team in the last.
He played 68 games last year. He's 11-5-5.
Yeah.
Bringing a guy in midway through the third quarter for 5 minutes. I mean, they don't lack much. They're still in the window. Their window's wide open. They need a couple guys off the bench just to get people that are used to that rarefied air up in Denver to come in and help them for a few minutes, so Joker can't carry the load the whole time.
Right. So what they
he wears down. He's only human.
They need a player that's anywhere.
People says 3 to 6 minutes. I mean, that's 3 to 6 minutes you didn't have prior to.
But at the beginning,
having a Russell Wilson on Westbrook on your team.
Yeah, but in the first and second quarter, not in the third and fourth quarter. There's a difference. Like there's difference.
Oh no, he cannot play in the last 5. He'll screw things up for everyone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So how about this? Denver needs a player between the age of 25 to 32 who is a consistent shooter over 40% to give Jokic and to give other players a breezeway. You don't need fast, dynamic players. You need just somebody who can spot up and shoot, other than the 2 players you have, because you want somebody to double team when there's a double team or they're coming off a pass to just go ahead and grab the ball and be able just to throw it straight up. Because if he misses, Jokic will get you the rebound.
Yeah,
think about that. So. But all Russ will do is just run in circles with the basketball, trying to see if he could get a good assist going there to get a double-double. And he probably won't even be close to double-doubling.
But he knows his role here. It's a championship team. He knows he's not a starter on this team. He knows that.
Yeah, I mean, he would have. And I'm not saying he's a bad player, and I'm not saying that he can't help, but I think that in the last 2 teams that he was on, he wasn't what they needed.
At the end, they started bringing him off the bench. He only started 11 games last year. That was because of injuries of other players. So he started 21 games in the year before that, 52 the year before that. He knows he's on the back end.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
It's not like you're going to have to talk him into going to the bench.
No. It's not.
Lou's already went through that stage.
You can. How about this? You know what you can do and who you are, but. Do you put yourself in a position to do you and help yourself in what you're able to do, right? Like I'm getting older and I can lift 50, 60, 70 pounds, but I'm not gonna pick up my 5-year-old, all the time when she says carry me. I'm like, no, you walk, because if you weigh 30 to 40 pounds, I carry you all day long, but you in the 60, 70, close to the 100. It's not that I can't do it. It's not that I don't want to do it. It's like I got to be careful that I don't hurt myself doing something dumb, right? And I don't want her to be in my arms because I've done something dumb and hurt her in the process, right?
Yeah.
But I
just think it's a good pickup for the role he's going to be.
I think it's an okay pickup, and it's a little bit of depth, but they need a younger person who can run the court and shoot, have a high shooting percentage. And that if they do miss, understand that they probably were going to get that rebound back with Jokic underneath the basket. So, they don't need to be like worried and have somebody running circles and trying to find a pass. That they don't need a guy like that.
Yeah,
So,
and I think they're expecting a bigger jump out of this Christian Braun guy, who's a young player, and they may add another guy to complement Westbrook to try to go 7 and 8 deep rather than just staying at 6 deep and wearing themselves down. I think their lack of depth actually caught up with them last year.
Yeah, and another thing that caught up with them,
they got Dario Saric, by the way, another guy, just kind of a bench player, you know.
And what happened to them happened to Boston, which is why they didn't win the first time with Tatum and that group, was that they shot too many threes because they were making threes in the beginning of the season and they were winning games like that they could keep doing that in the playoffs. And if you live by the three,
was that against Golden State you're talking about? Okay, yeah.
And if you live by the three, you know what happens when you live by the three.
Live by, die by.
Yeah.
Okay. Next topic here. Jalen Brunson, man, takes an extension, $113 million. He leaves on the table, leaves the Knicks with a lot of cap space and flexibility over the next few years, all the way up to him being like 32.
Right.
He's in a real good position.
And they already messed up by signing Randall to an extension.
Well, Randall hasn't been signed to an extension yet.
But they talking about keeping him.
Yes, I've heard the owner has said a comment that he likes Randall. A lot of owners say that just before they move off of a guy. So I don't know.
I would. I mean, he's like, well, we have money to keep Randall now. I was like, that's not what you want to do. Like,
it came out today. Kind of teased this before the break that they're interested in looking at Atlanta's Clint Capella. 30-year-old Clint Capella, 11 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist. That's a big they need. They need a big.
Yeah, well, I mean, they need
Robertson.
Right. And what they need to do is just stay out of the 30 range because the way that Tibbs coaches and
I know you want a guy that's like an infant.
Yeah, you know, if you can crawl and roll over and just suck on a pacifier, you'll be all right. No, but the severity of the fact that these guys are playing longer minutes, and then they're not available during the playoffs because they're injured or something. Like you see what happens if you play who you got and you got a lot out of them.
Yeah,
they got they on Hartenstein. They let him go, but they got a lot out of him. So you know, listen. And I've been telling him, if you're gonna run your players dry and just gonna have them just the head down to the knees, just play who you got, right?
Yeah. Just
play your whole bit, and you're never gonna know where they're gonna be at if you don't let them play and be on the court and get experience, right?
Yeah.
So play who you got, and if you don't like who you got and the way they play, go ahead and get rid of them. Like you don't. What are you holding? You're the coach. You see what you have, you know. What do you can't just be like, I don't want to
regretting not signing Hartenstein. Maybe ownership didn't think they was going to get Brunson to bite on a deal this team friendly.
What I think it was, and Hartenstein didn't take that much more money. He just gets more money on the back end because of the taxes that where he's at is less. So it's true.
Oklahoma City, yeah.
You know, so he got up. You know, he's gonna be. It's almost the same deal. Maybe there's a few million on the table that he left, but look, and they weren't going to give him that respect. Like I feel like Hartenstein had a contract, and he met every single every single thing on his contract, and he got extra money because he surpassed all the goals that are on the contract.
Okay,
right. So he played out probably better than like 3/4 of the roster did, right?
Yeah.
So if he plays this year, you got to give him a bigger contract than what he's worth. If he played out this year,
yeah, right? It's unfortunate that they let him walk. I'm a big fan if they could pull off a Clint Capella thing. Yeah, Randall, they need to move off Randall, but I know he really likes Randall. They did go 12-2 when Randall was there with who's the guy they traded for? OG Anunoby last year. So it's not like Randall was totally bad, but Randall shoots terrible in the playoffs. I think he understands his role now, though.
I mean, but that's
his team, you know.
Yeah, but that's not going to stop him from taking a 3-pointer, thinking that he's wide open and he can make it all the time.
Well, I hope that does.
Those kind of shots, not passing the ball and getting an easy 2, going from the inside outside and then taking a crazy 18-foot shot. Those small things just kind of drive you nuts, and you're like, man, you know, you understand. And he's played more minutes, and people are like, oh well, you know, he's doing good. Yeah, because he plays more minutes. He should be getting the stats that he's getting if he's playing minutes. But he should have He should have gotten more and better stats had he just kept the game simple and just stayed near the goal line, stay near the field goal, the free throw line, and just, you know, stayed around that area, and he would have been okay. But now he would play like he's playing, you know, 3-on-3 basketball, taking it back to the 3-point line, shooting up shots sometimes, and you're just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and those kind of things are frustrating.
Yeah. My point about Brunson, you never really hear, and maybe you have, I've never really heard a guy say, you know, I should have never took less money to stay with that team. I can't believe it. You hear it often, like a guy like Albert Hainsworth with the Titans. He regretted going to Washington. Later on, he said, I wish I probably would stay with the Titans. Right. I was happier in that situation. I had a better team. I had a better coach. You know, Brunson's dad's there. He's got former college teammates there. Right. They're going deep in the playoffs. I don't think he's going to regret this years from now, leaving that money on the table. Would you like to see him go to Atlanta or a Wizard team? You have all that money. I think guys like Bradley Beal that took those extensions, Damian Lillard, I think they secretly and maybe publicly eventually will say, you know, I probably should have took a little less and try to play for a championship because I'm pretty bummed out, even though I've made, you know, X amount of more money per year.
Yeah, well, all that you have to take in consideration. Also, that the fact that he was never in a bad situation economically coming up, right? So
Brunson,
yeah. So who knows what kind of other, you know, financially how he's set and what he's doing. But it's always those guys that come from nowhere and you know that once they're done playing basketball, they have a less opportunity of being on TV or getting a broadcasting job or doing something because they've only focused on being a basketball player and trying to be the best to get a better contract. So the best on a team to get a better contract. So, you know, he's a different type of athlete, and you know, he went to Villanova, he finished school, like, you know, he's doing other things.
Don't think you don't think he's going to regret this?
I don't think he's not only do I not think he's going to regret it, but I'm sure there's something on the back end that's not contractual that's beneficial besides just having a run at a championship with his former college players who he won a championship with, his dad being on the team, the fact that he grew up around the Knicks because his dad was on the team. Yeah. You know, and all those things, like besides all those things, I'm sure he's got other things on the, you know, in the back end cooking where if he misses that piece of a contract, it's not going to hurt him. And if it's a few $1 million, like he can make that up in a shoe contract or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I
get the same sense. It's a win-win.
Yeah, for him, he could do it because he's put himself and his family has helped him be in the position to be able to make that type of decision financially. Had it been Sean Kemp or you know, Tracy McGrady or something, they would have been like, I'm taking the money and I'm that's it.
Because Sean Kemp had a good shoe deal. I had a pair of those Sean Kemps.
The Rain Man. But you know what I'm saying? Like, and not to
those camouflage looking shoes.
Yeah, and I'm not calling them out saying that they're greedy. I'm just saying they come from a different background. Sean Kemp came from a Division III school. Tracy McGrady didn't, but Tracy McGrady, you know, like when he was young, he was like, I'm gonna try to get the biggest and best deal I can because I'm not gonna be playing basketball forever.
I brought up Scottie Pippen. $15 million, 7 years. That was a lot of money in 1991. But Jerry Reinsdorf, we saw this. I don't know if you've seen Last Dance.
Yeah.
With the Jordan thing, Reinsdorf's telling him, you probably shouldn't take this, man. I mean, we'll give you a contract like this, but the NBA's taking off. This is a long contract. But he wanted to buy his mom a house and all that and buy a family this and that. He had a big family out of Arkansas, small school, like you said. But he later regretted that and wanted Reinsdorf to tear that contract up and pay him because he was paid like 170 something in the lead. It was some crazy amount that he fell down there. But he wanted so much extra up front. He pushed for that 7-year deal when he really should have took a 3 or 4 year deal. Right. So it's I don't know. I just think that I rarely hear a guy that says they take because they're happy. They have a good situation. They like the coach. They like the management. They like their teammates. They don't want to move,
Right.
Pickles thinks Pippen may be working at Walmart next year.
I think
he's taking that divorce pretty hard.
Yeah, but I've heard and seen him.
That's funny, Pickles.
Take some of these Hall of Famer type deals for like Fanatics and stuff like that. I think he's gonna get a little bit more money soon, and I think he's not gonna be sitting on a pile of cash like Jordan, but he's gonna be okay eventually. Being a top,
like you said, I think there'll be opportunities post playing career. He's already popular in New York City. I mean, the biggest market out there,
Yeah.
So, anyways, what's your thoughts about this Jaylen Brown story? Isn't that weird? Wins a Finals MVP, gets left off the Olympic team. He thinks it's Nike behind it. They picked up Derek White instead of him.
It's a couple of things. Like the USA basketball team is business at the end of the day. There's nothing that they're not going to do that they don't feel like they're going to not see any kind of return on their investment at all, right? It's all about ROI. And they're kind of center heavy and they're kind of guard heavy anyways. And the players that they have are injury prone, like for instance, Embiid and Anthony Davis, but they're like the best centers that the US has to offer, right? So
AD's playing great.
Right. And so but then they're guard heavy because they got like Tyrese Halliburton, they got Drew Holiday. And I'm not saying that they don't deserve that position, right? But to me, if you're gonna keep the older players,
Halliburton's on the team.
Yeah, and also listen, and
man,
KD's
really is getting robbed, man.
And then KD is on the team, but he's
hurt all the time.
He's coming off of an injury. Right. So like that Adebayo, he's gonna be okay. He's not injury prone. Yeah. He could get injured, but he's not one of those players that is always you're like afraid to be playing him 3 days in a row. Like you're not, he's good. But then you're keeping these guys like Curry and Durant and Davis, who's injury prone. Hold on one second. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
So having those guys, Joel Embiid, and then you still have to keep LeBron James because you got to sell jerseys, right? And that's going to be probably his last hurrah.
Right.
So they're not. And if it's a Nike thing, there could be a little bit of truth to that. But
yeah, he's saying that it's Nike because he's.
But you have,
he's criticized Nike in the past.
The only thing is, you have the best, the number one guy who you put on the team because you know that they're gonna retire soon, and there's gonna be their last Olympics. Is Steph and LeBron. Steph is an Under Armour guy. So it's. I'm not saying that there's no truth to the Nike thing.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is that if he was on the team, what sales would he get for jerseys? Because this is the first championship he's won. Right? He's not like a record. He's not like if you put him out there.
Yeah, but why should it be it shouldn't just be about putting the best team out. They're heavily favored anyways to win it. Shouldn't it be about just winning the gold medal instead of selling jerseys and all that?
No, because at the end of the day, they're trying to spread the game. They're trying to spread the game all over the globe in a way where the best way to spread it is having people that have won championships already. This is Brown's first championship. This is the first time he's an MVP. In the next 2 or 3 years, everybody's gonna know who he is But right now, in fact, there's some people who don't
I
even
hope he
recognize who
gets a
Jason
chance to
Tatum
get
is.
his gold medal. I just hate to see him. What if he gets injured and never gets? He did get a gold medal, some kind of high school Olympic thing. I did read that on his bio. When in 2014, he came in NBA in 16.
And to what you said before, to put in Derek White, and
that's messed up right there.
I was like, I'm not the thing is that Derek White is a smaller player, so that gives him an opportunity to be more of a guard and play quicker, right?
Yeah.
But they should just, I mean,
maybe Durant will drop out. That's what I'm still banking on.
If it was me, I would take out, because you don't need 3 centers.
Yeah.
I would take out Joel Embiid and Drew Holiday, flip one of those two and pick up Brown. If it was me putting the team together.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, or even
he's younger than Holiday by like 5 or 6 years.
Another thing too, those two again, Joel Embiid and Drew Holiday. Like Drew Holiday, this is going to be his last Olympics opportunity because he's 34, and then also Joel Embiid, he's 30, so this could be his last Olympics if he's too injured to keep going next. And as a 34-year-old, I don't know if he'd be on the team as a 34-year-old. So like. And it's hard to say that too, right? Because you're sitting there and you're like, you want the best player on the team, but then you're like, some of these guys probably won't ever have the opportunity again to represent the country. So,
yeah, you think he'll use this as motivation,
right? And it's a tit for tat, and it is about business more than it is about winning. I mean, no matter who you put onto the roster, the percentage of them going to win the gold medal was already up in the 70 and 80%.
Yeah, they're playing great, man. They're going to be okay this year. But I was reading, I think it was Chris Broussard said it's not going to be like this in 28 and in the future. He says the world is closing in on the Americans.
Right. So him saying that is a wake up has to wake up the U.S. national men's team and say, look, wake up. We need, and you're going to have the best players playing, and it can't be guys over the age of 30 because. The thing is that those guys that are playing them are not over the age of 30, right? So they're going to be running circles around you.
Yeah, maybe Steph, maybe no LeBron. How about Cooper Flagg, who's getting a lot of hype coming out? He's coming in Duke this year,
right?
Supposed to be the number 1 overall pick. Cooper Flagg, I think he could potentially be Olympic guy.
And he's already on the practice squads going against some of these guys.
Yeah, he already dunked on AD in practice.
Right. So I think that guy,
like Dirk Nowitzki, was shooting over everybody in '92. Nobody knew who he was.
There's going to be guys, but they're going to have to be getting an opportunity as well. So they might have a cutoff age after the next Olympics, and I'm not. It's not that I want it to happen because it's. Just because you're older doesn't mean you're going to get like injured, but you're more likely to get injured if you're older and you're playing in the league. The league is a lot of, man, there's a lot of games in the NBA league, man. And, for instance, why this wouldn't have been an issue if Kawhi Leonard was still playing. This wouldn't have been even brought up. Think about that. If Kawhi Leonard was not injured,
Leonard's hurt all the time anyway. I wouldn't even have took Leonard.
Yeah, but even if he's hurt all the time, this is the argument. He's still one of the best players when he's not injured.
I don't know. I've kind of gave up on him. I just wanted to get your opinion on that. Hey, switching to college football, a little bit of talk about Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart's 47, 2 national championships. Paul Feinbaum brought this up on ESPN earlier this week. He's got more success than Nick Saban did. Nick Saban didn't win his first one until he's 50.
Right.
Will he catch Nick Saban with this new format at 7?
No. There's no the way
he won 2 at 47.
Right. I know, but the way the landscape of the NCAA is working, it's almost like it's working against how the coaches and what the coaches used to do in NCAA and even in the SEC, right? Yeah. So like the contracts, they might be 5-year contracts, but the coach is playing 2-year contracts. So you have the the people going in for the what's that called, the
NIL.
Then they have NIL deals, and then they have the where they able to
trade portal.
They have the portal issue. And look, there's one guy who's chomping at the bit. He's not even older than 43 in Clemson, and he can't get a winning team in the last 2 seasons, trying to avoid those.
Dabo Swinney.
Yes, and Dabo Swinney. Swinney is trying to be old school. Is trying to do He's trying to keep things the way it was.
I think it's really hard after you get the 2. You know, it took Tom Osborne forever to get a championship with Nebraska. He ended up getting 3. Urban Meyer got 2 pretty quick in 5 years. Took a few years later, finally got that 3rd one at Ohio State, but then he retired. And, you know, Mad Dog Russo's on ESPN. He was making the argument with Paul Feinbaum. You got another layer of teams to go through now. You got to win 4 times in the 12-team playoff. Plus, you've got Oklahoma and Texas in the SEC.
Yeah,
I'm not sure he's going to get. I don't even know if he's going to get 4.
Right, but
might get 4, but getting 7, man, with this competition, all this spread out, I don't see it happening. But who in the bleep knows, man?
If here's the problem. Because Saban's leaving as well, is you're losing the competition level against Alabama to make you a better team anyways.
Yes.
Right? So you're not gaining another team that's playing highly competitive football because they're all haven't been able to beat Alabama anyways.
Yeah.
You know? So you lose a coach who was highly competitive and the team was highly competitive in your conference, right?
Yeah.
So now you're going to go against another conference.
It's 14 teams, I think, right? In the SEC now?
Yeah, so I feel like they're trying to bring in more parity. But if you're looking at just by the SEC,
yeah.
Them losing Saban as a coach at Alabama and his competitive nature is going to have a bit bigger effect on the SEC. And
you're trying to make it sound like that maybe he will dominate.
Who, Kirby?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I feel like
okay.
I feel like they're going to go down because Kirby had something to aspire to. They're like, we beat Alabama. We're going to go out and do it again because they're the best team. But now you got to look at themselves and be like, we're the best team. Everybody's gunning for us. So we got to show everybody that we're the best team.
Oh, you're saying because they're becoming the hunted.
Right.
That's exactly what I thought. As soon as Saban retired in January, well, I'm still in shock mode, by the way. I still can't believe Saban's retired, you know? And the first thing I thought, a lot of people were pointing to Ohio State because they got all these transfers, Michigan leaves. But I thought, no, it's going to be Georgia's going to be the hunted. Because look, Paul Feinbaum brought this up the other day. It didn't even dawn on me. They haven't lost a regular season game in Georgia since 2020, man.
Right. And their biggest competition was who?
Alabama.
And
you called the score 27-24.
And who did Alabama beat and Alabama beat them the first time, and then the second and third time they beat Alabama. But they're not going to have a team to go against like Alabama and the SEC anymore.
Well, Texas is very good this year.
No, I mean, come on, Robert. Be real.
Well, I mean, yeah, Alabama's Saban.
Tennessee can get better.
They're going to name the field after Saban, by the way.
Tennessee can get better. Kentucky can get better. Ole Miss can get better. Mississippi State can get better. All these teams can get better, but none of them are going to be as good as a Nick Saban coached SEC
that's true.
Alabama team.
True.
And none of those schools had been getting top-rated 5-star players like Alabama and now Georgia, right? So now they might have 1 or 2, but these guys were getting 10, 12, like they were so deep that one player got hurt, the other player came in, and they were still better than they were with the player who got hurt. So, like, you think Georgia is going to be able to keep up with the Joneses of what Saban was able to create in Alabama? No, siree, because if there's no Saban to go against, who is your measuring stick? Who are you measuring by?
Yeah, that's true.
And you can't bring me no name like Michigan and Ohio State because that ain't the SEC. First of all, that ain't the SEC.
That's true.
And second of all,
Michigan's going to go the other way.
and it's like so.
Harbaugh left.
You know, and
no, I'm with you. I'm just curious about Fonbon throwing that out there. He says he's a better coach than Saban was at the end. Fonbon's throwing out hot takes. He's throwing out hot takes, if you ask me.
I'm gonna tell you this, and this is my hot take.
He's stirring the pot.
Even if Georgia is the number one school and being hunted, they ain't not gonna win not even one more championship ever again. Because
I don't know about that.
Because
do you see Georgia in the SEC championship game this year? You know,
like I said,
this Carson Beck is supposed to be the number one player off the board in the draft next year.
Again, Robert, it's not when it was Alabama and Georgia, they wasn't just number one. There wasn't just a QB that was a 5-star number one. They had 3 QBs that were 5 stars.
Yeah,
they had 5 running backs that were 5-star running backs. They were so deep that they were pushing kids into the portal when it first opened.
That's true. Yeah.
So, but they're not going to get that anymore. They not, because nobody's going. And people are like, because kids are smart too. They're like, oh well, Saban's gone, so I'll just go to Oregon. I'll just go to Notre Dame. I'll just go because there's no Saban there.
Do you see him getting to the Saban has picked? Now he's an analyst in air quotes. He's picked against Alabama. He's picked Texas and Georgia to play for the SEC championship. Texas is loaded.
Yeah.
They're a top 3 team. Quinn Ewers is still fighting off Arch Manning at quarterback. He's going to get it. That Isaiah Bond kid, that really good wide receiver we heard a lot last year, he's back with Texas. Texas is ranked 3. Got a pretty tough schedule. There's a very good chance they can play Georgia in the SEC championship. By the way, they play on October 19th in the regular season at Texas. What are your thoughts on that type of championship game coming up, or do you think it's going to be something else in the SEC, not national championship?
I feel
a little early, but yeah.
Right. No, I feel like with the exit of Saban, because they're not playing a Saban coached team, Georgia's going to lose confidence in playing high elevated college football teams in their own conference. Okay. So I feel like a team like Mississippi State, maybe a Tennessee will sneak in, and it's probably gonna still be Georgia because right now they still have the 5-star rated players and they have depth and everything. And I feel like the situation for Texas, as much money as they have and they're getting players and they're trying to pull players, if you can't get your quarterback situation straightened out, you ain't gonna win nothing in the SEC.
Quinn Ewers beat Alabama last year.
I know, but
he almost beat Washington. Remember that?
Yeah, but the powers that be, they want Manning to take that position. But you
think Manning's gonna beat Quinn Ewers out in this?
I'm not saying what I just said was the powers that be.
Yeah,
the people giving money want the Manning name to be a quarterback. That don't mean that he's gonna be quarterback. That he still got to play out and earn it on the field. But when you got powers that be,
thought he was transferred, but he didn't though. He's gonna.
That situation
they told him to stay there and fight it out, like Granddad would say.
That situation there in Texas is going to instead of make them better, is going to make them worse because they're going to have a conflict of interest between the coaching and the administrators and the amount of money they're paying these kids NIL to come in, because a lot of kids went there in the offensive side because they thought they were going to play with the Manning. To begin with.
They're going to be good, but they do have a tough schedule. I said I think they'll probably squeeze in there with 2 losses. By the way, there's no East and West no more.
Right.
It's just best record versus best record.
That's another thing.
I love that. I'm hyped up about this season.
That's another thing that's going to be an eye-opener for Georgia, too, because there's not that schedule. So that means they're going to be playing whatever school they're scheduled in the SEC, and that's, and look, think about it. LSU's supposed to get better.
Brian Kelly, he always has good quarterback play and running offensive line play. So they just got to fix their defense with LSU. But Auburn's got what's that guy's name that used to coach for Ole Miss? I just said his name yesterday. Auburn's football coach is really good. I I can see the Hugh Freeze. I could see them making a big jump this year. Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. I mean, there's no easy outs, man.
It's not even. It wasn't. Robert, it wasn't ever about an easy out in the SEC. It was about performance and beating Alabama, right? So now you don't have an Alabama to beat. So
you're saying that people's not going to be as motivated because Big Bad Saban's not in there.
Let's say Tennessee beats Alabama. They're so excited. Then they got to play.
Pick it up quick, Gals. Hugh Freeze good coach, man. He had Alabama beat. Remember, it came down to one throw.
Right. So, but I just, it's a different world now, and to be Kirby Smart and think that you're gonna start to win more because Saban gone, I think it's just keep playing it one game at a time and don't think like that, because
I still got him making the. I had SC. I agreed with Saban, but I need to reassess it. I got my Phil Steele magazine in, by the way, folks. These are like a $35 magazine. It's a Bible for college football. And I got the Lindy's Pro Football Pickles. This has got Will Levis on the front page. I got those two at Barnes & Noble, so we'll be breaking down some stuff here in the next 6 weeks or so.
My man looking like a librarian over there, pulling out different types of articles and periodicals. Listen, those things are great to have, especially when you want to fish and look for guys who got into the transfer portal and aren't in that magazine. Yes. But at least you have a starting point, right? Because these kids are going back. These kids flip flopping more than a 99 flip flop that you find on the beach nowadays, floating in the water, man. These kids are,
I mean, there's so much competition in the SEC. There's a possibility both teams could have 3 losses.
Yeah.
They're going to beat the crap out of each other, man.
I have a feeling that LSU and Ole Miss are going to take away a lot of these opportunities for a team like Georgia and Texas. And look, if they do, Tennessee has an opportunity maybe to come in as a second team.
I'm curious about Tennessee's quarterback, how well Nico's going to. He looked great in that bowl game, didn't he?
Man, he just looked like he's already for NFL. The way he was just every snap, he knew where the ball was going to go. He knew what he was going to do with the ball. He didn't, it wasn't just he was just playing. And it's hard to find kids that have that kind of confidence. So
yeah, and it will be interesting per se, to say the least. I mean, like I said, man, I can't wait.
But who you picking out?
Oh, I forgot to ask you about the NFL here. What about Brandon Ayuk?
What about Brandon Ayuk? My man said, use me or trade me.
My take is a little different this time. Ayuk's very young.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually figure out a way to pay Ayuk. Believe it or not, I'll figure out a way to pay Ayuk because of Samuel's age. George Kittle's 31. Samuel's 28 and a banged up 28.
Banged up.
Of course, you got a 28-year-old running back there. For this year, because they're not paying Purdy nothing, try to find a way to go ahead and pay and extend Brandon Ayuk and maybe move off another player in the offseason. If I'm 49ers, what do you think about Ayuk requesting a trade request? Because they can't get between 28 and 30 million. They can't make up that difference there.
Right.
For 26 and 30 million.
No, and like what you're saying is correct. Even though Debo's number one, he's a beat up number one.
Yes.
And they already paid him, right?
Yeah, he's $28 million cap hit.
And then I've been watching that wide receiver show on Netflix.
Man. And they're kind of like the personality of the 49ers, him and Kittle, right?
Right. And they really feed off each other. And Ayuk is that third person, man. Ayuk is that tripod that nobody's talking about. He only got 8 targets at the Super Bowl. He probably would have got double that had Deebo Samuel.
That's a lot, though. 8's pretty good.
8's okay, but 8 ain't gonna get you paid. And I think that's like that's going to be more of an agent thing, trying to persuade Ayuk to go somewhere to get payday, because the wide receiver market is so open and so large that they can get money now. And I don't. At the end, he should take over his situation and stay. I'm with you. I agree with you. He should stay in San Francisco. That's the best place that he could stay, where he knows the quarterback, he knows his teammates, and they have a chance of being in the playoffs again. Where if you go anywhere else for a payday, you're going to be responsible to take that team to a playoff, and you have to work with a new quarterback, new teammates, a new coordinator, and it's something that you're going to get paid, but it's a consequence that you have to kind of work with. And I don't know who his agent is. I should have looked that up. But if I'm Lynch, I don't want him to go either, because if something happens to Debo, you're just grabbing at straws at that point. And so keep him. And if you're Ayuk, stay. That's the best opportunity you have to be going to a Super Bowl. And
New England has acquired interest. My take on New England, I was reading some Pro Football Network. It's a new website. They were throwing out second-round pick, coming back. Now, if New England, as bad as New England could be, if they offered a first-round pick, could be a top 10 pick, then I may reconsider that, right? No?
The problem is Ayuk is not on the field enough to garner that first round pick. If you're going stat wise and you're going into looking at the numbers and statistics, Ayuk not
You're
being on
he's not going to be a 100-catch a year guy. I get
right.
you. That's
and it's not that he can be, because look at this guy who went from Arizona to Jacksonville and he's tearing it up. Kirk. That's he's making his money and he's making it loud. He plays big. Yeah. And so Ayuk can do the same thing, but his contract won't be as big. And on top of that, who's he playing with, man? Who's his quarterback, right? Yeah. So
and the scheme, the offense, I mean, it's a lot to look like. If it's just $2 or $3 million, I think San Francisco, they're already going to rob you because you're in California. If I'm Lynch, maybe I try to push that number up just a little bit and make this guy happy, man. It's just food for thought. But he is a wide receiver for them,
Has San Fran used their franchise tag yet?
No. No, he's in his I want to say he's in his fourth or fifth year.
He's the fourth, yeah. So he's
so
he can't. Yeah.
I think he's saying this because every time they've said this before, other players have said this with 49ers, they went on and paid the guy.
Yeah, it's a way to get money for sure. But for his sake and for the team's sake, I think they will both benefit at just paying him and have him stay. It's kind of interesting though that he's willing to move on. It's that's an interesting fact. But if he's just trying to get paid,
he is on his 5th-year option. Yeah. 5th-year option year. Oh, yeah, he's going in. They can technically franchise him next year, which all that you would average all that big money that A.J. Brown's making, Justin Jefferson's making. He would make the top 5 of that, but that would be a direct cap hit for the 49ers. It would be wise for them to get it done. My guess is they're going to get something done before training camp. That's just me. Yeah, or they're trading for a big chunk of picks now.
Yeah, and that's just for San Francisco for them to have trade bait and stuff. He's a
baller though. I mean, Ayuk is he's not the top end guy. I mean,
I'm not
$17.99. Ayuk has got 1,300 yards, and I'm trying to look at his catches. You got me thinking because somebody else brought that up on another program. Ayuk has got 100. Oh, he did catch 105 balls last year, so he's no slouch.
No, but that was because Debo wasn't on the field.
Yeah. CeeDee Lamb caught 135 balls. CeeDee Lamb's going to get a lot of money from Jerry Jones here in the next few weeks, in my opinion. Don't you think so? The Dallas?
What about a trade like that? Why don't Dallas trade CD to San Francisco for Ayuk?
Well, they're not going to do that. Dallas could trade him to. See, New England needs a wide receiver like.
Why does anybody care about who needs what, Robert? Why is New England's going to be fishing for talent?
They're in the trade market.
Yeah, but they're going to be fishing in the trade market for the next 5 seasons. The same thing with the Jets and the Giants. They don't as much as they're going to sign people.
We had that extra time. What'd you think about episode 3? Boy, is Sheehan in trouble? What?
Sean is,
Sean, whatever his name is.
Sean has made his bed and sleeping in it. And I told you, he stepped in it. He stepped in poo-poo, and now he smells it. Look, you give the guy the keys to the car, to the Ferrari, to a Porsche. If he gets scratch and dent, that's on you, bro. And I'm not a big believer.
The owner's really upset about Saquon Barkley, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big believer in them anyway, so I don't see them.
The owner?
No, I don't believe in Dable or Sean. Like,
yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, I think we were right last week, man, and it was just more evidence of that in this week's episode when he's like, he's like, this would really be disturbing for me to see Saquon go to the Eagles.
Yeah, so
they're like 5 minutes later. Oh yeah, Saquon, he's with the Eagles, by the way.
Yeah, here's
but $1 million in difference in guaranteed money, man.
Yeah, and the funny part was, and I got killed with this from other people. Hold on a second. What happened? Go downstairs.
Phoebe pooped on the floor.
Okay, I get it. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
So like, and I got a lot of, man, I got hit hard by a couple of my buddies and like who have season tickets for the Giants that I always help the part with them. They're like, and I was like, just sell both of them. You can't sell the heart of the team, the face of the franchise. I was like, bro, they could sell you $40 liquor at the game and you buying it. So
yeah,
this is business, man. This ain't nothing about what you want. This is about what the owners can bend or break on.
Did they want to keep Barkley?
I think the ownership would have liked to kept Barkley.
Yeah.
Because
I'll talk about your friends.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're like, we shouldn't have signed Jones. We keep out. I'm like, you can't say this and that because that's what happened. It is what it is. I personally said, I was like, if you can't make up your choice, you can't make up your mind on the choice of the matter in the situation. Get rid of them both. Save your heart. And go through the heartache, go through the pain, but you got money. Because money matters. Money talks, and then you slowly bring in pieces, you move things around, and you build up again. Right?
Did you see they talked about it again with the Brian Burns trade. 2nd round pick, $158 million contract.
Whew.
And he divvied out all the offensive linemen that they wanted. They got 2 of the 3. The guy Jermaine something from the Raiders. I can't have his number. And who was the other guy? John Runyon from the Packers. But they also had this guy named Robert Hunt from Miami that ended up signing with the Carolina Panthers. I'm thinking, yes, it was a guard. He was one of the higher rated offensive guards. But Sheehan's talking about the whole show so far. We need an offensive lineman. We're getting blah, blah, blah killed. We're getting Daniel Jones killed. We had 3, what did he say? We had 3 practice squad guys on playing at one time. I'm thinking, well, why don't you just go all in on the offensive lineman, keep that 2nd round pick, and use that for another defensive lineman instead of just making that splash play going after Burns. Burns better have 15, 17 sacks for the kind of money they're paying him. He might do it with Lawrence and Thibodeau, but Thibodeau's got to carry his weight, man. Everybody's
going to have to step up.
Yeah.
These 2nd year, 3rd year players who were highly picked.
Like Thibodeau.
Yeah, like Thibodeau are going to have to make noise. The thing is, this guy's relationship with Charlotte, though, is the reason why he was like on that Kool-Aid, because he's like, oh, I know that guy, like I have a relationship.
Oh, I hated that. Yes.
And it's like, it doesn't matter who you know. Who do you want? Like, who do you want on your roster and go get them? That's your job as a GM, right? That's your job as a GM. And if you're a cutthroat GM and you're like, I'm just gonna pick young guys and have them grow up and be like that. But if you're a guy like that guy from the Rockets who's just and now in Philly, whatever his name is,
Daryl Morey.
Yeah, be like Morey and just like I'm gonna get the best players and who sell the most jerseys, who's gonna sell me tickets.
And no championships to show for it.
Yeah, and so if you're gonna be like, so you can be any kind of GM, but have a mission, have a goal, and understand that. Like
I didn't like that either. What he said about Dan Morgan, like, yeah, I worked with him. Remember, he's trying to get another 7th round pick. He's like, Dan, we're going to do business for a long time, but he didn't give him the 7th round pick. But I'm like, dude, they could have not signed Singletary either and got this other running back out of Texas with that other 2nd round pick and not taking that other safety. Since this is an air quote offensive league, but that's just me, man.
The thing is that we're seeing things also through what they're showing us. I mean, but we like football. We're fans. We're not executives. We could maybe be executive.
I just think that
we both went to school
for certain things.
We both studied statistics. We both graduated in communications, and we're trying to figure out what it is what went down with all the information that they're giving us.
Right.
I feel like this is too much information. I had already made up my mind about Schoen and Daboll. Right. And now the information is coming out more and more, and people are looking at me like, oh man, this guy, he's making a point now. So now everything I have said in the past is starting to come to light. Like, did I know something that was going on in that executive office in the nose rooms and in Giants in MetLife? No, or the Giants house? No, but like when I hear something and I see what they're doing on paper and it matches up, as a fan, I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want that. Like, and I was okay. My heart was open to say Daniel Jones got to go, Barkley got to go, and then we'd have been okay because I would have been like, we'll move forward and we'll move on from that. Yeah. But the way he did it, like, it wasn't kosher, man. You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't kosher. The fact that he's trying to be buddy with Barkley. We talked about that last week.
Yeah, it was like,
I
feel like
letting him test the market. Now, I do think they'll get a compensatory pick for that, but that's for this year. It's not that's for next year. It's not for this year. It's not going to help him right now.
Right, and you know what I dislike about the show is that they show Daboll talking to these quarterbacks, blah, blah. They didn't show him talking about Saquon. Does he want Saquon on a team? They didn't show any of that.
I don't think he did. I think he'd take him or leave it. I think Daboll's pretty self-assured of what he's going to do. And
that's your offensive
I don't even know if Daboll and Schoen like each other. Did you see the way he walked out when he was asking the defensive coordinator about Brian Burns' sacks? He just shut the door behind him. He just walked out. I was thinking, you don't want Brian Burns. Daboll wanted another offensive lineman. Then they would have had 3 offensive linemen that were veterans and ready to go with Andrew Thomas. In this football league that we're in now, the 2024 league, you really have to have a good offensive line. The teams that spend money on the offensive line, their rival, the Eagles, they win games. They go to the playoffs, man.
Yeah, but now the Eagles are in trouble, right? Because they had
New Yorker wants a clean house.
They had
he does, man.
The Eagles have lost 2 guys, one to retirement and one to free agency.
That's true.
Two major.
Hopefully, their fill-in guys are supposed to be ready to go.
You know what? When you tell me that,
Philly sports guy.
You know what I hear and what I see. You tell me that, and what I hear and what I see is like, they might be some sacks coming through that area.
We'll see. I mean, Barkley will probably I think he'll probably end up doing well.
I think that's.
By the way, for the record, Barkley's just looking for a reason to get out of town. He knows that's a train wreck up there. He wanted to go to a winner.
I agree with you. No, because you can't be a top 5 running back and still not be on a winning team.
He wanted to go to the Eagles.
He was the only guy scoring touchdowns.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I can't
his quarterback wasn't throwing any.
Man. So they play in October. They're going to boo the heck out of Barkley in there.
No, but here's the thing.
In MetLife.
What the Eagles did correctly was knowing that they're hurting on the line. They put an offensive weapon that now your defensive line and your linebackers have to stretch because they don't know if he's going to run the ball or catch the ball from the backfield. So they actually eliminated some of that whole stress about, we need to make sure that our line is at 100. Their line could be at 70 and they're still going to be moving the ball forward.
Yeah.
Right? Because they have Barkley back there now. They don't just have they don't have two small running backs. They got a big guy who can catch and who can run.
Yeah, I think they're going to be pretty good. You got anything to plug? We're running over, man.
No, man. Like, listen, I've been putting some stuff together. I'm trying to drop this the show in the next 2 days. It's just been getting information out. I'm going to drop a couple of. I wrote a couple articles. I'm going to drop on the Mad New Yorker Facebook.
Okay.
About what's been going up at the Euro Cup and then the
nice.
and the Copa America. So, and also what happened with the Rangers this year in New York. So I got a few articles I'm gonna drop. And then I'm just trying to get stuff together, man.
So you drop some singles. You sound like an artist.
Yeah, man. You know what happened? It's like it's the beginning of the summer for me. Some people are already at the middle of the summer, and it's this year.
They're already talking about back to school stuff.
Yeah, like I just got out. Like
y'all just got done. I thought about you all when I saw those signs at the Walmart crap.
Give me some school
like, I don't want back to
in New York.
Look, I don't want to go back traffic.
In New York, it's gonna start in the next 2 weeks. Because when you in New York, when you buy school supplies or clothes, it's like 100. Like if you spend less than 100, you don't get taxed for it. Whatever.
We got that too. Tax-free weekend.
Yeah, the tax-free stuff. So, and I'm just like, but every time I go somewhere, everything I want to get is they're already out of it. So I'm like, this.
Oh God. You got to get out of that place. But then again, I won't have an ear to the ground to New York. So.
Oh, don't worry, man. They so loud here. You can hear this freaking stuff in Singapore, man.
Hey, whenever you come back to Nashville, let me know, or Clarksville. I'll buy you dinner sometime again.
No, man. This time is my trip, man. We'll
anytime soon.
Yeah, no. Hopefully in August, man. I'll let you know.
Maybe
we'll do a show together somewhere.
Okay, buddy. All right, man. The Mad New York. I'll see you next week there.
You enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your games, guys. See you.
All right.